talking about playing for a conference crown. He's backed up those words with his play and his leadership, and tonight the Cavaliers can win the first outright ACC title in school history. Duke wasn't expected to be here 1 week ago, but when Cal upset SMU to create a five-way tie for second place in the conference standings, Manny Diaz and the Blue Devils won the tiebreaker and advanced to the second title game in program history. Their upset hopes tonight rest largely on the arm of the ACC's leading passer, Darian Mensah. Duke arrives at 7-5, just the fifth team ever to enter a power conference championship game with 5 or more losses. Virginia's 10-2. They were lone atop the ACC regular season at 7-1 in conference play. And by virtue of that record and their number 17 ranking, the Cavaliers are a lock to make it to the college football playoff as one of the 5 highest ranked conference champions if they win tonight. Duke, even with a win, has virtually no chance. They're unlikely to be ranked ahead of conference champions Tulane and James Madison. So if Duke wins tonight, the JMU Dukes will likely be in the field at 12 as the last team in. A case tonight of the Dukes cheering for the Dukies. Sean McDonough along with Greg McElroy, delighted to have you with us as this very important championship Saturday continues. These two teams playing for their first championship in the ACC since they brought around a championship game 21 years ago. This matchup a surprise to some. In the case of Virginia, the most recent example of a team that if you have a lot of money to spend in the portal, you spend it well, particularly on a quarterback, you have a chance to have a big turnaround in your program. And Chandler Morris is a big part of this story.
He's the heart and soul of this football team. I mean, you watch him, the one game they were without him, the offense completely fell apart. I think you can make a case he's as valuable to his team as anybody in college football. And what he does best is operate on the move and extend plays. When he's on the run, when he's outside the pocket, a lot of defenders are scared of him taking off and running, so they uncover and he creates big plays. You have to do that tonight against a very aggressive Duke defense.
He was a high-profile player out of the transfer portal. So was their leading rusher this season, who was much less heralded. With more on Jamari Taylor. Down to the field, Molly McGrath.
Well, Sean, it's hard to believe that Virginia running back Jamari Taylor started his career as an overlooked walk-on from SCS, North Carolina Central, and he was with that program for over 2 years before he even earned a full scholarship. He didn't even start until his 5th and final season there, which was just last year, but Taylor told us he wouldn't change a thing about his journey because it taught him the value of patience and humility. And now he enters this conference championship game as the ACC's leading rusher, just 3 yards shy of 1,000 rush yards on the season, and he'll look to do that in his hometown of Charlotte in front of 60-plus friends and family. Sean?
Big night for him, big night for everybody on each side in this matchup. When you talk about Duke, it's another team that was impacted mightily by a first-year transfer quarterback from Tulane, Darian Mensah.
He's outrageously productive. I mean, the numbers are insane with how many yards he's accumulated through the air, but I think the biggest part of his game is the downfield passing attack. And in the first matchup against Virginia, they had 5 different examples in which receivers were behind the defense, and he missed them. He went 0 for 5. They got to protect him, and he's got to hit some shots downfield because this could turn into a bit of a track meet with both defenses having to play against great offenses.
Manny Diaz, his coach, said both of these teams feed off the ability of their quarterback. They take great confidence from them. And like Virginia, they have a good running game at Duke as well from a surprising source when the season started. There's Taylor McGregor.
Yeah, Sean, and it will be so important for them to establish that run game because last time they faced UVA, they had just 42 rushing yards on the ground in that game. But it is Nate Shepard, the freshman, who they really want to rely on. He didn't get his first start of the season until week 5. But when he did, the dynamic of this offense completely changed. They really like him in multitude of ways, but he's the one guy on the field who can take it to the house.
Duke and Virginia for the ACC title. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.